Hello everyone, in the current session we will be focusing on the targeted drugs that are employed in anti-cancer therapy. So what are targeted drugs? A form of molecular medicine that blocks the growth of cancer cells by interfering with specific targeted molecules needed for carcinogenesis and tumor growth. The targeted cells, they mainly interfere with specified targeted molecules that are needed for the survival of cancer cells. There are mainly two types of targeted cells. The first one are specific monoclonal antibodies that need to be given parenterally and they attack the cell surface targets or tumor antigens. And the second category are synthetic small molecular compounds which are given orally. They penetrate the cells and affect the cancer specific enzymes or pathways. So coming to first category, BCR-ABL tyrosine kinase inhibitors. The drug is imatinib. It inhibits specific tyrosine kinase labeled BCR-ABL. It is overexpressed or it is expressed by chronic myeloid leukemia and other related receptor tyrosine kinases. Imatinib, it specifically inhibits BCR-ABL tyrosine kinase, which is expressed by chronic myeloid leukemia. It may also inhibit other related receptor tyrosine kinases like platelet-derived growth factor receptor, which is active in dermatofibrosarcoma protuberans, and stem cell receptor and c-KIT receptor, which are active in GI stromal tumors. And BCR-ABL tyrosine kinase is responsible for the uncontrolled cell division in these tumors. So by blocking this tyrosine kinase, we can inhibit the cell division, uncontrolled cell division. Uses are chronic phase of CML, metastatic c-KIT positive GI stromal tumors and dermatofibrosarcomas. Coming to the adverse effects of imatinib, they are abdominal pain, vomiting, fluid retention, periorbital edema, pleural effusion, myalgia, liver damage and congestive heart failure. The next drug is dasatinib. It binds to and fixes the BCR-ABL tyrosine kinase enzyme at both active and inactive sites. That particular tyrosine kinase enzyme has active and inactive sites. The dasatinib, it binds both to active and inactive sites, whereas imatinib, it only binds to inactive site. This is an important point. Because it binds to both active and inactive sites, dasatinib is more potent inhibitor and it is effective in both chronic and accelerated phases of chronic myeloid leukemia. The adverse effects are low blood count, bleeding, hypertension, pleural effusion and prolongation of QT interval. The next drug is nilotinib. It is a BCR-ABL and PDGF receptor beta and c-KIT receptor tyrosine kinase inhibitor. It has 20 to 50 fold higher affinity than the imatinib. It is used in chronic CML, which is non-responsive to imatinib, and it is also used in accelerated phase of chronic myeloid leukemia. The adverse effects are similar to that of imatinib. In addition, it also has QT prolongation. Next category are EGF receptor inhibitors. Epidermal growth factor. So epidermal growth factor receptor is a transmembrane receptor tyrosine kinase and it regulates the growth and differentiation of epithelial cells. So usually the transmembrane receptor kinase, it binds to the EGF, extracellular domain of the receptor, it binds to the EGF. It causes induced dimerization. It leads to the activation of tyrosine kinase activity of the intracellular domain and results in the osteophosphorylation of kinase and phosphorylation of several cytoplasmic regulatory proteins. And this modifies the gene transcription and regulates the growth. This is the normal function of epidermal growth factor receptors. And majority of the cancer cells or certain epithelial cancers, they overexpress the EGF receptors, and their growth, it depends upon these receptors. Hence, the receptors, EGF receptor inhibitors, they can control those specified epithelial cancers. Coming to the drug, gefitinib. It is a synthetic compound. It penetrates the cells and binds to tyrosine kinase domain of the EGF receptor and prevents the phosphorylation of the regulatory proteins. And gefitinib is mainly used in non-small cell lung cancer, more effective than other cytotoxic drugs. The adverse effects are skin rash, diarrhea, nausea, anorexia, itching, rise in serum transaminase, intestinal lung disease. The next drug is erlotinib. It is combined with gemcitabine for metastatic pancreatic cancer. It is also used in case of hepatic, it may cause hepatic dysfunction for patients with pre-existing liver disease. That is an adverse effect. Erlotinib, it is used in combination with gemcitabine for metastatic pancreatic cancer. Coming to the adverse effect, hepatic dysfunction for patients with pre-existing liver disease may occur with erlotinib. Coming to the next category, cetuximab. It is a monoclonal antibody. It binds to the EGF, extracellular domain portion of the receptor. It prevents the transmembrane signaling and results in the blockage of cell growth, proliferation and metastasis. Cetuximab is mainly used to treat metastatic squamous cell carcinoma of head and neck in combination with radiation and cisplatin-based chemotherapy. It is also used to treat metastatic colorectal cancer either with irinotecan or cisplatin or alone. Coming to the adverse effect, acneiform skin rash, itching, headache, diarrhea, hypomagnesemia and interstitial lung disease are some of the side effects of cetuximab. Coming to the next category, EGFR or HER2 inhibitors. The example of drug are trastuzumab. It is a humanized monoclonal antibody. It binds to the extracellular domain of another subtype of EGFR, which is termed as HER2, and this inhibits the signal transduction, and this leads to immune cell mediated cytotoxicity and HER2 overexpressed tumors. Trastuzumab, it is used alone or in combination with taxanes, and it is also used to treat HER2 positive breast cancer and also useful in HER2 overexpressing gastric carcinomas. Because it is HER2 inhibitor, it is majorly used alone or in combination with taxanes, and it is mainly used to treat HER2 positive breast cancer. The breast cancer which expresses HER2 growth factors, and it is also useful in gastric carcinoma which overexpress HER2 receptors. Coming to the adverse effects, it may decrease the left ventricular ejection fraction, LVEF, cardiomyopathy is seen, and flu-like symptoms are some of the adverse effects of trastuzumab. The next drug is lapatinib. It is a synthetic orally active inhibitor, penetrates the cells, blocks the tyrosine kinase activity of the liganded HER2 and thus interferes with the signal transduction. It is mainly used in metastatic HER2 positive breast cancer and used with capecitabine in metastatic postmenopausal breast cancer. Coming to the adverse effects, fatigue, abdominal pain, diarrhea, decreased LVEF, which is nothing but left ventricular ejection fraction, heart failure, but this is less cardiotoxic, and QT prolongation is also seen with lapatinib. Now coming to the next factor, angiogenesis. We all know that Angiogenesis is a characteristic of cancer cells. Angiogenesis is nothing but the proliferation of new blood vessels, which is essential for the growth and metastasis of cancer. So VEGF, vascular endothelial growth factor, it is important for neovascularization and increase in the microvessel density within the solid tumors. VEGF is very essential for the angiogenesis and increase in the microvessel density within solid tumors, and most of the cancers, they overexpress vascular endothelial growth factor receptors. So inhibition of this receptor is beneficial and has been developed. And some of the common side effects of angiogenesis inhibitors are vascular injury, bleeding, proliferation, and defective healing. So how vascular endothelial growth factor, how it will affect the angiogenesis? VEGF, vascular endothelial growth factor, it interferes with the cell surface VEGF receptors, which is another receptor of tyrosine kinase, and this results in the phosphorylation of intracellular regulatory proteins, and this promotes the angiogenesis. So coming to the examples of drugs which are angiogenesis inhibitors, the first one is bevacizumab. It is a humanized monoclonal antibody. It binds to VEGF-A, hinders its activation to VEGFR, and interrupts the angiogenic signaling. 5-fluorouracil along with bevacizumab, it is used to treat metastatic colorectal cancer. And bevacizumab, it improves the survival in metastatic non-small cell lung cancer, breast cancer, clear cell renal carcinoma, and glioblastomas. Coming to the adverse effects of bevacizumab, rise in blood pressure, thromboembolism, and this leads to heart stroke, and proteinuria are some of the adverse effects. The next drug is sunitinib, and it is a synthetic VEGF receptor 2 inhibitor. It enters the cell, competitively blocks ATP binding to the tyrosine kinase domain, prevents the phosphorylation of angiogenic regulatory proteins. It also inhibits multiple receptor tyrosine kinases like PDGF receptors, c-KIT receptor, RET, etc. Sunitinib, it is mainly used to treat metastatic renal cell carcinoma, and along with imatinib, it is used to treat imatinib resistance GI stromal tumors. Sunitinib, it is used to treat metastatic renal cell carcinoma and imatinib resistance GI stromal tumors. Adverse effects are wider range as it inhibits the multiple tyrosine kinases. Some of the common adverse effects are neutropenia and hypothyroidism. The next drug is sorafenib. It is orally active synthetic VEGF receptor tyrosine kinase inhibitor. It also inhibits several other tyrosine kinases. The uses of sorafenib are metastatic renal cell carcinoma, and it is a second choice of drug to sunitinib. It is also used to treat hepatocellular carcinoma and metastatic papillary carcinoma of thyroid. Coming to the adverse effects, they are anorexia, weakness, hand-foot skin reaction, flu-like symptoms, and hypertension. Coming to next category, proteosomes. Packed complexes. Proteosomes are nothing but packed complexes of proteolytic enzymes which degrade several intracellular signaling proteins that control the cell cycle, apoptosis, and survival response. And proteosomes are most important part of the signaling pathway. In case of nuclear pathway, KB mediated signaling. NFKB is a transcription factor. It resides in the cytoplasm and it is bound to inhibitory protein IKB. Hypoxia, cytotoxic drugs, and DNA breaks and other stressful stimuli, they activate the proteasome. This proteasome, it cleaves and degrades the inhibitory protein IKB to release NFKB, which is a transcription factor. And this then translocates to the nucleus and transcripts certain genes to produce molecules that oppose the apoptosis and promote the cell proliferation. So this is the major action of proteosomes in the cancer. Coming to the proteasome inhibitors. Some neoplasms, they overexpress NFKB, which plays important role in their survival. For that reason, proteasomes inhibitors are employed to treat those cancers. The drugs are bortezomib. It is a unique boron containing compound. It covalently binds to proteasome, inhibits its proteolytic activity, disrupting many intracellular signaling pathways. It prevents the breakup and degradation of IKB so that NFKB is not released to transcript the survival molecules. It also causes buildup of BAX, which is an apoptosis promoting protein that affects the other regulators of the cell cycle. Coming to the uses, bortezomib is mainly used to treat multiple myeloma as well as relapsed disease. It is also used to treat refractory mantle cell lymphoma. Adverse effects are peripheral neuropathy, diarrhea, fatigue, bone marrow depression, and thrombocytopenia. The next category of drugs are CD20 inhibitors. So what is CD20? Malignant cells, they express certain antigens on their surface to which monoclonal antibodies could be developed. CD20 is one such antigen. It is expressed on the surface of B lymphocytes, plasma cell and B cell lymphomas. Example of drug which is CD20 inhibitor is rituximab. It is a chimerized monoclonal antibody. It binds to CD20 B cell antigen. It promotes the apoptosis through transmembrane signaling as well as by antibody dependent cellular cytotoxicity and complement dependent cytotoxicity mechanisms. Coming to the uses, rituximab is mainly used to treat B-cell lymphoma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma and chronic lymphatic leukemia, single or in combination with other cytotoxic agent. It is also used to treat some autoimmune diseases and its survival benefits in both initial and relapsed cases are seen with rituximab. Adverse effects are infusion reaction like chills, urticaria rashes, pruritus, dyspnea and hypotension. These are reduced by pre-treatment with antihistamines and corticosteroids. Late onset adverse effects are neutropenia and depletion of B lymphocytes. Coming to the conclusion of targeted drugs, many tumors, they overexpress the growth factor receptors that stimulate the cell proliferation and tumor growth. So targeted cells then can specifically target these growth factor receptors and they can inhibit the cell proliferation. So here are some of the examples. The cell proliferation and tumor growth can be inhibited by monoclonal antibodies which may bind to extracellular domain of the endothelial growth factor. The monoclonal antibody which binds to extracellular domain of EGF is cetuximab, and the monoclonal antibody which binds to oncogenic receptor of HER2 is trastuzumab. And the example of monoclonal antibody which neutralizes the growth factors themselves is bevacizumab. And next category are protein kinase inhibitors. They prevent the downstream signaling by growth factors, and these are inhibited by examples of protein kinase inhibitors are the protein kinase inhibitors which are specific to oncogenic kinases are imatinib, which are specific to receptor tyrosine kinases are erlotinib, and which are which act on the drug protein kinase inhibitor, which acts on several receptor associated kinases, is sorafenib. And additionally, some of the monoclonal antibodies, they act on lymphocyte cell surface proteins to cause lysis and prevent the proliferation. Example of such category is rituximab. By this, we complete the targeted anti-cancer drugs. Thank you.